The RSL and ex-service organisations are great organisations. They've been around for over a century now, supporting veterans who leave the Defence Forces in a whole myriad of ways. Much of it is practical support, much of it is social support, much of it is just continuing to belong to an organisation in which you have friends and mates and colleagues who understand your life and what you have been through. And that's why these ex-service organisations are so important. We are announcing today a $5.6 million package of support for our veterans community in Western Australia. That will include an additional $1 million per annum for the Anzac Day Trust. Just so you know what the Anzac Day Trust does, that distributes money to ex-service organisations like Legacy, the RSL and others that provide support services to veterans. Things like assisting widows or bereaved partners of those people who may have lost their life. Things like assisting people transition into other forms of employment. When you leave the Defence Force, often you've gone from a life of high intensity, much travel, living in places all over the world, and transitioning to civilian life, particularly after a couple of decades serving, can be difficult, and you might need counselling support, employment assistance or the like. That's what this funding will go towards, assisting veterans in Western Australia transition into civilian life in whatever way it might be, in particular helping people acquire employment that is suitable to them. So this is an important addition for our veterans community across Western Australia, of whom we have many, indeed a couple standing behind me, who, to be fair to say, made a pretty good transition into another role. But that is an important thing that this funding will go towards. Secondly, we'll put $430,000 towards the training of support dogs for people, veterans with PTSD. Support dogs have been shown increasingly over recent years to provide comfort and support to people who might be suffering trauma for whatever reason, and in the case of veterans, it's as a consequence of their service. So this training for support dogs has been much sought after by the veterans community, and so we're pleased to provide that support today. And thirdly, we'll ensure that Anzac Day services go ahead as planned this year. We've worked with the RSL on a COVIDSafe way of doing it, and we expect a major dawn service at Kings Park, plus services across the community. We'll work with the RSL to make sure it's properly managed, and we have a very sensible and a very meaningful set of services across the state this year. Anzac Day is, of course, very important to all Australians, remembering those who served and those who lost their lives in all wars, and it's very important that we manage it properly, particularly considering many of our veterans community are quite in their older years, and making sure that we do it in a safe way. So that's something we're committed to work with the RSL on doing. We'll have a dawn service at Kings Park once again, and the RSL has been great to work with to secure this outcome.